A little side business? My brother's fiancée Talia laughed loudly across the dinner table. Oh come on Marcel, tell her to stop embarrassing herself. He needs a real job. My company is hiring unpaid interns. My parents burst into laughter like it was the funniest joke they'd heard all year. My mother wiped her eyes dramatically. Yes, Marissa, maybe this internship will finally teach you some discipline. You can't keep selling your silly little products and calling it a business. My father chimed in, smirking. Be grateful, Beta. Talia is doing you a favor. Not everyone gets her scraps. For a second I just stared at them. The people who raised me, the people who once told me I could be anything. Their voices clanged around the dining room, bouncing off polished walls and designer furniture I didn't belong in. Inside something cracked, not loudly, not violently, but softly, like a quiet shift before an earthquake. Hi everyone. My name is Marissa Vale, and I learned that night that betrayal doesn't always come with shouting. Sometimes it arrives in laughter. And that laughter stays. It burns. I tried swallowing the humiliation, keeping my voice steady. I'm doing fine with my business, I said softly. My handcrafted digital products had started gaining real traction. Orders came in daily. But they didn't know that. They never asked. Talia waved a dismissive hand. Sweetheart, Etsy shops aren't businesses. Don't worry, I'll talk to HR tomorrow. What did you say your major was again? Oh right, irrelevant. She laughed again, tapping her expensive nails together. My brother Mark didn't defend me. He never did. He just kept cutting his steak eyes down. Then Talia pulled out her phone. Actually, what's the name of your side thing again? I want to see the CEO behind this business. I'm sure they're as unserious as you. Before I could speak, Mark reached for his own phone. Her CEO is on LinkedIn, he said casually. Let me just. His voice stopped. His fork fell. His face turned the color of paper. My parents leaned in. What? Why did you stop? Mark swallowed hard. His eyes didn't blink. Because on the screen, staring back at him, was a face he recognized. A name that froze him. A truth none of them were prepared for. Theo was someone who shouldn't have been connected to me at all. And the moment he realized who, his entire expression shattered. Mark's lips trembled. I'd never seen him lose color like that, not even when he crashed Dad's car in college. My parents leaned closer, confused, irritated that he wasn't speaking fast enough. Who is it? My father demanded. Why do you look like you've seen a ghost? Talia snatched the phone from his hand with an annoyed flick. Honestly, Mark, stop being dramatic. She didn't even finish the sentence. Her perfectly glossed lips parted. Her breath hitched. Her entire face drained. Because there it was. On the glowing LinkedIn screen. Valen Industries. Founder, Marissa Vale. Verified. My picture. My company. My title. The same little side business they laughed at was the corporation quietly acquiring 2 smaller firms this quarter. The same silly products, they mocked, had built a brand with 4.1 million digital customers and a global distribution partnership. And the same Marissa they dismissed had been working in silence, building something bigger than any of them imagined. My mother stuttered first. This must be a glitch. Talia shook her head slowly, barely breathing. This can't be you. CEOs don't sit at family dinners wearing cheap cardigans. I almost laughed. Not bitterly, but with a strange, quiet freedom. I never said it was a side business, I replied softly. You all assumed that. Mark finally found his voice, barely above a whisper. You're the one who built Valen Industries? You. My nails dug into my palm, keeping my emotions from spilling. Yes, Mark. Me. Silence swallowed the table whole. Talia's phone began vibrating non-stop. News notifications from the company's newly leaked expansion article. My father blinked slowly, processing each word like it tasted rotten on his tongue. Then he leaned forward. And with a voice tight as wire, he asked the question they were all terrified of. Marissa, what else haven't you told us? My father's question hung in the air like a blade. What else haven't you told us? For years I had waited for this moment, not out of spite but out of exhaustion. There is a special kind of loneliness that comes from being underestimated by the people who should have believed in you first. I set my fork down gently. A lot, I said. Mostly because every time I tried to share something you laughed, or compared me to Mark, or told me to focus on real jobs. So I stopped telling you. My mother crossed her arms defensively. We didn't laugh that much. Talia burst out, okay, but so? That's impossible. You don't even look like someone who runs anything. I inhaled slowly, letting her words dissolve instead of pierce. When you spend enough years being dismissed, I said, you learn the power of doing things quietly. Mark stared at his plate. Why didn't you tell me? He whispered. I looked at him, really looked. Because you would have told them. And they would have crushed it before it even had the chance to grow. My father's jaw flexed. Don't accuse us of. I'm not accusing, I cut in calmly. I'm stating history. Silence again. The overhead chandelier buzzed faintly. The smell of roasted garlic hung thick in the room. Even the clock on the far wall seemed to hesitate between ticks. Talia suddenly snapped. Well, unpaid interns aren't beneath COs. Maybe humility would help you. I smiled, not out of pettiness but clarity. I already employ 87 people, I said. Paid. Well. That shut her up. My mother leaned forward, voice trembling now. Beta, if you're really doing this well, then why still act so small? That's the word she didn't say. Before I could respond, Mark cleared his throat. There's something else in this article, he murmured, scrolling. Something big. His eyes widened. Marissa, why didn't you tell us your company is acquiring Talia's firm? The room imploded into stunned silence. Talia's chair screeched backward as she jolted to her feet. What do you mean acquiring my firm? Her voice cracked. More panic than anger. Mark held up the phone, the article glowing across his stunned face. It says Valen Industries entered the final negotiation phase with. He swallowed hard. Trionova Tech. That's your company, Talia. Her breath came out in sharp, uneven bursts. No, that's not possible. Our CEO would have told us. We're not being bought out by some. She stopped herself, but the insult she was about to fling hung heavy in the room. By some what? I asked softly. She didn't answer. She couldn't. My father snatched Mark's phone next, his eyes scanning the article like the words were personally attacking him. This is serious, he muttered. Marissa, is this true? Yes, I said calmly. We've been negotiating for 6 months. If the board finalizes the vote this week, I'll become the majority controller of Trionova's operations. Talia looked like she might collapse. You'll be my boss? I didn't gloat. I didn't need to. I'll be everyone's boss, I replied gently. Including your CEO. My mother's voice cracked with something between disbelief and fear. But Beta, you never showed signs of this. How did you even build something so big? I looked down at my hands, remembering late nights, silent tears, coffee gone cold beside spreadsheets and prototypes. Because when you're dismissed long enough, you stop asking for support, I said. And start building your own foundation. Nobody spoke. Even the humming lights felt muted under the weight of truth. Talia finally whispered, so the internship, your little shop, was revenue testing for my first global product line, I answered. My father exhaled shakily. If you acquire Trionova, what happens to employees? I met Talia's terrified eyes. That depends, I said quietly. On loyalty. On ethics. On respect. Her throat bobbed. And then, my phone buzzed. A message from my attorney. Board meeting moved to tonight. Acquisition decision in 2 hours. Everything was about to shift. My attorney's message lit up the screen like a warning flare. Board meeting moved to tonight. Acquisition decision in 2 hours. The room erupted all at once. My mother clutched her dupatta like it was slipping away. 2 hours? Beta, you should go. This sounds urgent. My father straightened his posture, his voice suddenly careful. Yes, of course. You'll need family support. We can come with you. I raised a hand. No. I'm going alone. The table fell silent again. Talia paced like she was trapped in a shrinking room. Marissa, please look, what I said earlier was just jokes. You know how family dinners get. Don't let tonight's decision ruin my future. I didn't mean any of it. My eyebrows lifted. Didn't mean it or didn't expect consequences? She flinched. Mark stepped between us, voice trembling. Marissa, if the acquisition goes through, can you at least protect her job? She's my fiancée. For the first time all night I looked into my brother's eyes. The same boy I shared pencils with in school, the same boy who grew into a man who never defended me. You didn't protect me when it mattered, I said quietly. Why should I protect someone who mocked everything I built? He looked down. No excuses left. I stood from my chair. I need to go. But as I turned, my mother grabbed my wrist with a sudden desperation. Beta, wait, we were wrong, she whispered. We should have believed in you. We should have supported you. Just don't shut us out now that you've succeeded. The irony stung. I never wanted to shut anyone out, I replied. I just wanted respect. I picked up my keys, the weight of years settling behind me. As I stepped toward the door, Talia's voice cracked behind me. Marissa, what are you going to do at the meeting? I didn't turn around. Decide, I said softly. Who deserves a future in my company? The cold night air hit me the second I stepped outside. It felt cleaner than the suffocating dining room, where everyone only breathed when it benefited them. My car's engine hummed to life, steady, unlike the storm unraveling behind me. As I drove toward the Valen Industries headquarters, my mind replayed years of whispered mockery, the silent eye rolls, the she'll never make it comments they thought I didn't hear. I had built an empire brick by brick alone, but tonight the weight of that empire rested on one decision. When I entered the boardroom, everyone was already seated. Suits, tablets, contracts. The air smelled of ink and tension. Ms. Vale, my lead counsel greeted. We moved early because Trianova's valuation shifted. Their internal reports leaked: poor culture, toxic leadership, repeated harassment claims, and financial mismanagement. I paused. Talia CEO, her department, her behavior. The dots connected like lightning. Show me the files, I said. Pages flicked across the digital screen. Employee testimonies, ignored complaints, HR cover-ups. A rot beneath polished branding. A rot that someone like Talia would thrive in. So, another board member asked, do we finalize the acquisition and restructure? Or walk away? Everyone turned to me. My voice came out calm, colder than any winter I'd lived through. We finalize. A wave of murmurs rippled across the table. But, I continued, Trianova's leadership team must go. Effective immediately. A company is only as ethical as the people running it. The general counsel nodded. All senior roles? All, I confirmed. The vote passed unanimously. My attorney slid the final document toward me. Sign here, Ms. Vale. After this, you officially control Trianova. I clicked the pen. But right before my signature touched paper, I remembered Talia's trembling voice. Don't ruin my future. She wasn't afraid for her job. She was afraid of accountability. I pressed the pen down. Ink met paper. Trianova was mine. And so was the power to decide what came next. By the time I stepped out of headquarters, the acquisition announcement had already hit every major financial news outlet. My phone buzzed nonstop. Reporters, investors, congratulations from people who once ignored me. But one notification stood out. 12 missed calls from Mark. 9 from Mom. 6 from Dad. 4 from Talia. I didn't call back. When I reached home, all 4 of them were waiting outside my apartment building, shifting anxiously under the street lamp's pale glow. Mark rushed toward me first. Marissa, please, just tell me you didn't fire her. She's terrified. I unlocked the main door without slowing down. I didn't fire anyone yet. Talia stepped forward, mascara streaking. Marissa, I swear I never meant to humiliate you. I was joking. You know how I talk. Her voice cracked. Please. I need this job. I stopped at the entrance. Turned. Looked directly at her. For years you talked down to me, I said softly. Tonight wasn't a joke. It was a habit. A pattern. She swallowed hard but didn't deny it. My father tried stepping in. Families forgive mistakes. I cut him off. This isn't about forgiveness. This is about consequences. They all went silent. I continued. Trianova employees will be evaluated based on performance, conduct, and character. The investigation begins Monday. Talia paled. She knew exactly what HR would find, because she had been part of the culture that created those buried complaints. Mark's voice broke. So that's it? You're going to destroy her? I shook my head. No, Mark. She destroyed herself long before tonight. I'm just no longer the girl who covers the cracks for everyone. My mother reached for my hand. Beta, please. Don't do anything emotional. Think carefully. I stepped backward into my building, the door half open between us. I am thinking, I whispered. For once, about myself. The door clicked shut. Inside, silence settled around me. Peaceful, unfamiliar, powerful. Tomorrow the world would react. But tonight I had one final decision to make. Monday arrived like a storm disguised as sunshine. I walked into Trio Nova headquarters. Now my headquarters, with my legal team beside me. Employees glanced up as I passed, whispers rising like wind. Not fear, curiosity. Hope. A shift in the air they had waited for. At 9 a.m. sharp, HR began the review of all senior staff. Complaints were opened. Files were pulled. Voices, once ignored, were finally heard. By noon, the conference room door creaked open. Ms. Vale, HR said quietly, we've concluded the findings on Talia's department. I nodded. Proceed. The report was placed in front of me. Harassment. Intimidation. Retaliation. Mocking junior employees. Blocking promotions. Manipulating reports. A perfect reflection of the person who laughed at me for years. But revenge, real revenge, is never loud. It's precise. My pen hovered over the termination authorization. Not emotional. Not vindictive. Just justice. Before signing, I stepped out onto the balcony overlooking the city. The breeze brushed across my face. The same city where I once felt invisible. I finally understood. Silence built me. Dismissal sharpened me. Underestimation armed me. And now it was time to protect others who had been treated the way I once was. I returned to the boardroom and signed the order. Talia's position, terminated for cause. Not because she mocked me, but because she harmed people under her power. Mark called instantly. Marissa, she's devastated. Please reconsider. No, I said gently. This wasn't personal. This was accountability. He didn't respond. Maybe now he understood what respect truly looked like. That evening I walked home alone, not out of isolation, but strength. The city lights glowed around me, soft and steady, a reminder that quiet victories are still victories. At my door I whispered something to myself, something I had earned. I'm finally free. And with that, the story closed.